Hi, good morning. I'm here with Dr. Ameya Kagali. He's the chief team physician of the Paralympic contingent here in Paris. We're just outside the Paralympic village. Welcome, Dr. Kagali. Now, I want to ask you, you have had several assignments at mega sporting events before. You were you were with the Paralympic team in Tokyo. You were at Hangzhou for the Para-Asian Games. Tell us a little bit about how it is inside the Games Village.
Good morning, first of all, ma'am. Thank you for having me here. The Games Village is just something to cherish and to learn for, not just for the para-athletes, but also for the support staff. So many countries, so many people, different cultures, all coming together. So you can get to see their training habits, various sport, how they eat, what they eat, how they just move around, go about their daily life. But one thing which unites all is that we as support staff, we are always in awe of how the para-athletes lead their lives on a daily basis. And we're just so honored and privileged to, get to see them up close and also be of some support to them, which is my primary job, is to keep them as healthy as they can be so that they can give optimal performance for the country.
Now, your job is way more challenging because for, able-bodied athletes, a physician is possibly needed when there is an issue, but for the para-athletes, they all have several medical conditions which you constantly have to keep in mind. So tell us a little bit about that challenge, that extra challenge that you come with.
I mean, you're right. With an able body, as we speak, we take so many things for granted. Just to give you a small example, to go from place A to place B, we can just walk up the stairs or, go for lunch, which is closing in 5 minutes, so you can just go and come back. But with a para-athlete, we need to plan that much more. We need more time. So we need to see that, is that place wheelchair accessible, or if it's a visually impaired athlete, is there a guide along? Because this is all foreign terrain for them. They're out of their home country, they're out of their home conditions. So in that regard, for me, it's the largest Indian contingent to come.
Sure, yes.
And I'm pretty much aware of all the 84 athletes, medical contingent, medical impairments. And since I'm an international classifier too in a couple of sports,
I will ask you about that just now.
So I definitely, and I have a team, so it's not just a one-man show. Like, it is never a one-man show for any sport. So they keep giving me the feedback on maybe thrice, 4 times, 5 times a day sometimes, or this incident has happened. Or even if there's nothing to report, I can't sit back and say, okay, chalo, sab theek hai. I need to go out there and be amongst the athletes and just ask them whether they're dining or on their way to their rooms, in the elevator, wherever they are. I mean, it's different, but it's not too different as some may look at it.
Okay, one question is, we've read a lot about how this village, which was also the Games Village during the Olympics, has been changed and made completely accessible for, para-athletes. You're happy with the facilities that you're getting here?
Oh, absolutely. And one thing we must understand is that it's I think less than half the contingent size. I'm talking about the whole village as such, not just the Indian contingent. So few things like, you will see, even if there's a 2-centimeter difference in the level playing field of the land, there will be a ramp somewhere close by. And even the walkways have the braille pattern which is there. So also for the visually impaired, to make way easy for them. And apart from that, every washroom, every room is designed so that a wheelchair-bound athlete can mobilize in an independent manner.
That's incredible. And now my final question to you. You have been the first IOC certified, classifier for parasport in India. You do wheelchair fencing for badminton. So tell us a little bit, because see, a lot of people don't understand these classifications. That's what becomes a problem when people want to follow parasport. Tell us a little bit how important it is to understand these classifications so that we can support our para-athletes.
First of all, just a slip of tongue, I know it happens. It's not the IOC, it's the IPC.
Okay, right.
So we'll come back from the Olympic mode to the Paralympic mode. And apart from that, so classification is the cornerstone of parasport. For example, we are not here to see an athlete's impairment. We are here to see competition. So when we classify them, it will be it won't be right on our part if you pit an amputee with a spinal cord injury. Of course, swimming is an exception, so I won't complicate matters in that sport. But for athletics, which we have the largest contingent, the class depends on the impairment. So technically, if I lose like the 5th digit, I am impaired, but I'm not meeting the minimal impairment criteria. So I cannot become a para-athlete. Fast forward, if, God forbid, I lose an amputation from my elbow, then I will be pitted against all those who have a similar deformity to make the level playing field with respect to impairment. To give you a connotation for an able-bodied sport, you will never see a flyweight and a heavyweight competing against each other. So it's 50 kilos versus 50 kilos, 83 kilos versus 83 kilos. Similarly, in para sport, the impairments need to match in order to achieve sporting excellence. And I think that's the true testimony and that's the challenge. And as you said, like, I have a bit of knowledge about classification. Each sport has its different classification team, different set of classifiers. I've been honored and privileged to be there for wheelchair fencing, para badminton and para shooting recently. And of course, my team has, so much knowledge about these small nitty-gritties and how that can be inculcated into para sport. And finally, for optimal performance.
And also for transparency, because we need the classification to be as per rules. We need it to be very transparent so that there's no overlap. No one has an unfair advantage, and that's where people like Dr. Kagali are doing their they're doing their service there. So thank you, Dr. Kagali, for your time. We look forward to the Paralympics, to some great performances. Medals count, but also the journeys of these athletes count, and that's where people who are supporting them like you count. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I request everyone to, give the athletes the respect they deserve. They are just inspiration by their mere presence. Thank you so much.